I worked at a hospital for 14 years as a storyteller. And I asked kids there and people that were definitely going to die from horrible diseases. And I asked them, what do you know about life? Now, you've been to the edge, you've been looking down the edge, and you're probably going to fall off soon. But if you could take one sentence with your own blood and paint on the wall to leave us something from you before you die, what would it be? And every child, every one I met in the hospital for 14 years that was going to die, they said the same thing. All of them. Enjoy what you have. Be grateful and thankful for what you have. And the rest, just forgive.
When Casper Sorensen asked those children in Denmark hospitals at the end of their life, well, what can you tell me about life? They said, be grateful for what you have, and the rest, just forgive. Hi guys, Calvin here. It was that grateful word when Casper was speaking to those children on their deathbeds that really stuck out for me. Yes, forgiveness is a big theme of the things that I talk about as well. You guys know this. But I want to talk about gratitude, particularly the power of gratitude and why gratitude is so important to a healthy and happy life. Now, I've been doing some research into gratitude recently and found that there are a number of ways to cultivate gratitude. And we've heard the usual things. We've heard about creating a gratitude list. We've heard about just thinking about things that we're so grateful to have. But I recently stumbled across some other things that are really helpful, including Andrew Huberman's podcast, who looked into the effects of gratitude on the brain. But first, let's go back a little bit to some of the benefits of gratitude. Emotional well-being. Gratitude is apparently very closely related to life satisfaction. Constructive behaviors. Gratitude practice and someone who lives in gratitude is less likely to be angry, to be hostile, to be depressed, and more likely to be kind, to be giving and gregarious. Happiness. Gratitude is correlated with autonomy, pursuit of personal goals, self-development, and even more closely aligned with self-actualization. People who live in gratitude are happier and thrive a lot more. Better relationships. Living in gratitude helps our relationships to thrive, and we are more willing to forgive. So the children who said what they did to Casper in Denmark were actually telling the truth. How can it be that these little kids on their deathbeds could be so wise in their final moments? Authenticity. People who live in gratitude are more likely to show who they are, to be who they are, and feel more comfortable with who they are. Health. Gratitude has been linked to lower stress and healthier overall life just from practicing gratitude. Thanks to research from Greater Good in Berkeley, California, that we're able to find out what the evidence is around the good practices of gratitude. But here's what's really surprising for me. Andrew Huberman in the Huberman's Lab podcast, which you can find on this YouTube channel using the links below, talks about something even more powerful when it comes to gratitude practice. So in this video, I'm going to share 5 tips to gratitude practice, including what I gleaned from the latest research, which Andrew so eloquently shared on his own show. Well, the first thing is meditate. We know that meditation helps us to zoom out and detach a little bit more from the thinking mind. And from that new perspective, from that new vantage point, we are able to appreciate things in a very different way. We're even able to appreciate the things that are right in front of us, which our distractions, the distractions of our thinking mind, disallow us from seeing. Help someone else. When we help somebody else to do something, not only do we get a sense of pleasure and positive vibrations from helping, but they are also grateful to us. And one of the interesting learnings is that actually gratitude has a very powerful neurocircuitry effect when we actually are the recipients of gratitude from others. This is not to say that we should be going around trying to help because we're seeking the thanks or gratitude from someone. Because if you've watched my previous talk on generosity, we know that we do it we aspire to do it for the purest possible reasons. But what we know is that there is still a positive effect from receiving the gratitude. So if we don't receive it, that's okay. But if we do, then we can bask in the effects of gratitude benefits. Another positive effect of gratitude is being able to tell people what you appreciate about them. There is something really reinforcingly positive about that. But not only that, we're expressing gratitude to them. And when we do that, they, of course, are benefiting from the same neurocircuitry benefits that we talked about as receiving gratitude. We're giving that. So we're sharing in the fruits of gratitude with others. Another easy one, celebrate minor accomplishments. You know, we wait for the big accomplishments till we reach the huge milestones before we could stop and appreciate what we have. But actually, every single day, there is something small that you have accomplished for which you can be grateful if you desire. And that takes a little bit of recognition. You know, what is it that you're grateful for so far? As you watch this video, you must have done something today. You must have accomplished something today. You must have taken your kids to school. You must have ticked something off your work schedule. You must have done some grocery shopping, made your bed. You must have done something very, very basic, but that is actually really important to your well-being. So make note of that and express some gratitude for even the small wins, because the small wins really do matter. And finally, the fifth one, I want to share something really interesting. And this is what I'm really curious about from Andrew's work in the Huberman Lab podcast, which is that when we experience gratitude through a narrative, or we witness some kind of good act, some kind act in the form of a narrative, a story, then we are experiencing the benefits of receiving gratitude from someone else without having to seek it out by doing something or asking someone to thank you for a kind act. So what's really interesting here is there are lots of films and books and stories. And I think of things like Schindler's List. I think of things like The Shawshank Redemption, really famous and well-received films, which are full of kindness, relationship building, and people expressing their thanks for the transformation, the life-saving action that's been given, or whatever it is in the movie. But the point is that stories of gratitude actually have a very powerful effect on us from a point of view of being a person not directly involved in the act. And that's what's so fascinating about that. Hi, if you're enjoying this conversation, you might like SOAR Book Club. Many similar conversations are happening in SOAR Book Club, a book club for the spiritually curious. If you like spiritual books and community, then why not join SOAR, where we can grow together, learn together in a fun and nurturing environment. Click the link below in the description to find out more about SOAR Book Club, or to find out how you can join. It'd be nice to see you there. So meditate, help someone do something, tell people what you appreciate about them, celebrate minor accomplishments, and watch a story or read a story of kindness to experience the effects of receiving gratitude, because the effects of gratitude, the benefits of gratitude, are independent of the benefactor. You, as the observer of this story, can yield the same benefits as if someone were thanking you for a good deed.